Good morning, everyone. If you're watching the replay, I am Corinne from PNP Tribe and fitandfat.com. And today I'm going to talk all about what losing 100 pounds has taught me over the years. I lost it 13 years ago, and tomorrow I'm turning 44. And it's crazy to me to think that I have, one, lost 100 pounds, two, that I have kept it off this long, and three, that it still can feel like it was yesterday that I lost it. I think one of the things that it has taught me is that it takes a long time for your brain to catch up with your new lifestyle. I thought about what all I wanted to cover this morning, because losing weight has really taught me a lot of things. And I think people think that losing weight is going to teach you all about, what to eat and how to exercise and all this other stuff. And those are the smallest of lessons. They are really not the ones that are the life-changing lessons. I think that one of the things that I teach a lot, and that I want all of you to understand, is that, thank you for all the birthday wishes, everyone. I think one of the things I want you guys to understand is that when you are going to significantly change your life, which means if you're going to decide that you are no longer going to be overweight, if you've been overweight all your life, it's going to require you to become a completely different person. And you're going to have to work really hard at becoming a completely different person. You're going to have to think differently. And that's going to be the most important part of this whole live. I know a lot of you always like, well, how much water do you drink? And how often do you work out? And tell me, are you a keto girl? It's like, trust me, those are the least of your concern questions. If you really want to know something about what it takes to lose weight, get out of asking people what they eat. I want you to ask yourself, because this is where I was at. What was stopping me from losing weight? It was not because I hadn't asked enough women who were thin what they ate. I watched them like a hawk. What losing 100 pounds taught me was to start listening to what I was thinking about every single day. If you follow me at all, you know that Kathy and I have a podcast. Kathy is my co-host. I don't know if she's on here this morning. She's at work. But we have a podcast called Losing 100 Pounds. Because I lost 100, she lost 80. She lost 80 with me. And one of the things that I was talking about yesterday as we were going through one of our episodes is that, I hope you guys can hear that awesome helicopter above me. I just have to be outside. I'm going to be inside all day long on phone calls. And I was like, this live has to be outside, even if, Blackhawks come flying over. But one of the things that we were talking about that I was saying is that most of us, like, the significant change for me when I lost my weight, so emotional today. I cried when I talked about it last night on our podcast, is that for the first time ever when I lost weight, I really knew I was going to have to look inside. I was going to have to quit thinking that I was going to change a few behaviors, meaning I was going to, find a meal plan or do, some crazy diet or join Weight Watchers again or, whatever. I was really going to have to start evaluating the person I was. And it's what I did. I mean, I tell y'all all the time, I had to really start listening to how I was talking to myself. I talked to myself so pathetically. Y'all know that, well, if you watch me regularly, you know that I suffered from depression for years. And I would listen to myself, and I remember day in and day out, hundreds of times a day, thinking, you cannot think like this anymore. You're going to have to think better about yourself. You can't focus on what you can't do. Those were the things that losing 100 pounds taught me. I was sitting there thinking, as I was making my awesome coffee, I was sitting there thinking about, I used to worry so much about what people thought of me. I would worry incessantly. And I thought, for years, I thought people judged me because I was fat. And I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? People never judged me because I was fat. People judged me because they were assholes. That was a significant change for me to really understand that I was taking in what people thought and using that as fuel to eat and using it as reasons to hate myself and stuff. No wonder I was overweight. I never actually considered for a moment that the problem wasn't that people were judging me. The problem was that I wouldn't let them. That if the best thing they could do was judge me because of my weight, that says a lot about them. Like, that was significant for me. And I had to remind myself of that all the time. Because if you know my story, when I started losing weight, I wanted to exercise so bad. Never been able to exercise. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm a mess. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. But I wanted to exercise so bad because I never was able to exercise. And I had to go to the gym at 2:50 with the wrong clothes and just let the judgments come in. I had to go to, I wanted to do 5Ks. One of my dearest friends in the world encouraged me to do those. I had to show up and be in dead last place so many times. Let, the real runners tell me I was in the way. I had to do all of those things. And I had to start really training my brain that there was nothing wrong with me. Because that's where my brain would want to go. And so a lot of you will ask me now, even though I'm bawling like a baby, I don't seem super confident right now. And for all of you who follow my hormones, I'm ovulating. So that's probably why I'm extra emotional today. I'm also tired. I stayed up too late last night watching the Game of Thrones with Chris. But one of the things that I really learned was that I just had to start figuring out for me how I was going to think about myself. And, when I did that process, what it really did for me was take me from someone who was not super confident, super sure of herself and stuff, and teach me how to be that way. I was not born this way. I was born talkative, for sure. I was also, and I think a lot of people used to think, when my mom included, thought that I was very self-assured and stuff because I would overcompensate for my weight. But on the inside, I was not. I was a nervous wreck all the time. I was continually worried about what people thought. And one of the things I've really come to understand is that people still judge the shit out of me now. It doesn't matter your size. People just judge me for other things now. The common denominator is learning how to take what I call judgments and feedback and decide what you want to do with it. There's a decision point there. And I think that that's probably the most important thing weight loss has taught me. And that is just to, you have to be willing to relearn your thinking. You have to be willing to think about, the person you want to be and not be scared. I can't tell you. That's probably one of the other things weight loss taught me was the willingness to dream. The willingness to think bigger than I was ever willing to think for myself. When I first got started, just thinking that I could change was such a leap for me. It was something I had to remind myself all the time because being overweight, I had conditioned myself to quit dreaming. I had conditioned myself to not set goals anymore in everything. I just thought that if I could just get through life and not be broke, that I was winning. I grew up so poor and so overweight and stuff and depressed that getting through life was a huge deal. And I had taught myself that that's all that mattered until I had gotten so depressed and so overweight and stuff that I was like, there's got to be more. because thinking all I need to do is get through each day is killing me. I like had this significant aha moment that was just not going to work. And so I started thinking that, like, I talk to you guys all the time about leveling up your thoughts. If you're in the tribe, you know exactly what I'm talking about, thought ladders. I leveled up my dreams. I started with believing that I could change. And I've been teaching you guys this a lot in the last few weeks. We're fixing to really dive into this deeper. But it's like I started believing that I could believe that I could lose weight. Like, I had to bypass even believing I could do it. I had to just be like, I know one day I can believe I can lose weight. The best way to get to where I embody that is to start doing some small things, collecting my small wins. That's why I started with 15-minute walks. That's why I started with eating ice cream in a smaller bowl. Like, guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're new to me, just go to the podcast, episodes 1 and 2. I talk about my damn ice cream and my walks, like, all the damn time. The podcast is Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. And the small wins comes from my free course. I have been teaching you guys this for years. I am constantly, like, every day, telling every woman who wants to lose weight, start realistically, just like I did. And then once I got some small wins, once I started collecting the little things, then I was able to start believing in the idea that I could change. And I started telling myself I can do these things. And it took me a while, y'all, before I really started thinking about, like, how much weight I was going to lose. I remember being maniacally focused on breaking 200 pounds. I can still see in my head the moment I hit Wonderland. I had a digital scale. I just remember I was so tickled. I wish that we had been in this day and age where I could have took a damn picture of it, because I would have. You know, we had the old, like, you know, wind up little phones back then. And then I remember when my goal was 175. I had forever believed that 175 was the only weight I could ever weigh. I can't tell you. And for years and years and years, I'd go from 250 to 175 because in my mind, I just kept believing that was all I could do. And the day that I hit 175, I was so stupid tickled with myself. I had gotten used to thinking about goals and believing in the ideas that I could do things, that for the first time ever, I said, I think I could lose more weight. I wonder if I can. Let's just see. And I just kept going. I think one of the biggest lessons that weight loss has taught me is set goals. Don't be afraid to set goals. Be terrified if you're unwilling to. Like, if you want to be scared of something, be scared of the idea that you've given up and that you refuse to do it. Because then you have decided that however you feel right now is like you're locking it down. I think it's a shame when we give up out of fear of failing. And that's the other thing that I think, if I had to like nail 3 big things, it's the judgment, it's the goal setting, and the other one is the fear of failure. For me, I remember thinking that I can't do one more diet. Like, I can't fail one more time and stuff. And I really realized that I could. That I had gotten really good at failure, so I don't know what the hell I was so afraid of. I was living my life all the time, making mistakes and recovering. I mean, I've been a scrappy person all my life. So if I was still eating and breathing, somehow figured out how to get married and have a baby, all while being overweight, which I thought was my, biggest crux ever, then I guess I could just keep trying. I mean, I think that is such a BS thought we tell ourselves, that, like, I just can't fail one more diet. I can't handle it one more time. It's like, oh my God, that's the worst thought that was ever thought in the history of, womanhood. Let me tell you why. Because, like, we always think the worst thing that's going to happen is the feeling of failure, or that we can't do it, or that, what other people will think. If you're worried about what other people think, listen to the first half of this video. The real problem is that you cut yourself off from the time it will work. Like, I sit and think all the time, it would have been so easy for me to talk myself out of trying again because of all the past failures I had. And thank God I didn't. Because the last time was the time that it finally worked. And let me tell you, it was riddled with failure all the way through. It is not like I decided to lose 100 pounds and it's like, whoop, well, that wasn't easy. It was not easy. It was filled with doubt and fear and mistakes and overeating and wondering if I was going to be able to do it and stuff. And I just kept telling myself, yeah, well, we're just going to keep going. Like, it is, my son was talking to me last night. If y'all know Logan, he is the smartest kid ever. He's my 15-year-old. He was talking about perseverance. And he really struggles with perfectionism. And he said, you need to talk to your ladies about persevering. And I said, so what does persevering mean to you? And he says, it's when you do a lot of hard work until you get what you want. And I said, well, what if what you end up in the end, you didn't do it perfectly? And he said, well, then you just get the gift of doing the hard work. And I said, well, that's pretty smart. But that's the thing. You know, it's like, how many times are you willing to commit to making mistakes? Because y'all ask the wrong questions all the time. You're always asking about, you know, how do I handle it when somebody doesn't like me? It's like, you let them not like you. Period. How do I, what should I be eating? It's like, I don't know. Why aren't you eating healthy right now? It's not a lack of knowledge. It's always something in your head. It's always like, I'm bored. I'm tired. I deserve it. It tastes so good. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's all these things. All the while sitting around feeling like shit all the time. It's like, how damn entertained are you during that time of the day? Like, I want you guys thinking on a bigger level. But it's like, perseverance. Ask yourselves the right questions. How many times am I willing to fail at this? How many times am I willing to, overeat and figure it out? How many times am I willing to wake up in the morning full of shame and redirect my thoughts? How many times am I willing to stop my brain calling myself names in a given day? Like, unless it is until I quit doing it or until I lose my weight, you got the wrong damn answer. That's why you're not losing weight. If you could only do it for so long, or it has to work out, or whatever, the problem isn't the diet, the problem is you. You have a judgment on how it should be, rather than taking it how it is and figuring it out. Your job, when you want to lose weight, is the same job I had. Your job is to figure out how you're going to keep going, no matter what. If you're one of my tribe members, you know we hashtag a lot of things NMW. Because that's what it takes. Weight loss is not about finding a guru or trainer or the right program or whatever. Hell, I sell a program. It's not even about the right program. You know the people who do the best on my program are the girls that just keep showing up. Because my program is all about the thoughts. They're not going to get a food plan. Ever. You know what they're going to get? Questions. Pushing. Asking them, are you asking yourself the right question? Are you willing to look inside? Are you willing to let people think that, like somebody yesterday said, she was asking me a question about, she was going to, she wants to join the tribe in September, and she was going to ask somebody for some money, and she said, they're not going to think this is a good idea or this is real. I said, that's fine. So are you going to still ask for the money? She's like, well, yeah, because I really want to join. I said, well, why do you need them to think it's real? I said, why don't you just let them be wrong, and your job is to just prove them wrong. That's it. You prove yourself right. If you believe in something, if you believe in you, your job is to prove yourself right. Your job is not to listen to others and then get caught up that they don't believe in you. It's like, so what? We have a hard enough time motivating ourselves. We have a hard enough time making sure our brain is intact. Get out of other people's heads and mouths trying to fix them, to get them telling you what you need to hear. Their vomit that comes out of their mouth about you will never matter if you start believing in you. Trust me, people tell me all kinds of shit all day long about me. You try being on social media for a hot second. It ain't easy, said the lady wearing the Queen band. If I believed everything that people said, I would be a mess every day. I'd quit. Like, seriously, I want you guys to think about this. I would quit. But I don't, because I know what I'm doing helps people. Just like you don't have to quit your diet just because your husband says you'll never keep it off. All of you are going to have shade throwers in your life when you're losing weight. I've just never met anyone that like lost weight and everybody around them was super supportive. There will always be a food pusher. There will always be someone who thinks you should just have more. There will be the time when you're losing weight and somebody says you're too thin when you still have 30 pounds to go. There will always be that stuff. And your job is not to get pissed and worked up about it and take your eye off of you losing weight and focus on their problem thinking. Because that's what happens. That's what weight loss told me. I stayed in everybody else's head so much that I forgot that what was going on between my ears is what actually mattered. And that was what was going to cause me to lose weight. So, in 44 years and 100 pounds, after being overweight since the time I was 9, that is what I've learned. It pretty much boils down, I mean, if you think about everything I just got through telling you, it pretty much boils down to, I had to listen to what I was saying first and get that fixed. I had to have compassion for me. I had to quit beating myself up. And I had to get out of everybody else's head and just let them be. Just let other people have opinions. Focus on yours and what you're saying and what you're believing and what you're willing to do each and every day. All right. Oh my gosh, your child thinks I look great today. That's hilarious. Hey, Caitlin. All right, let's see if anybody had any questions this morning. I don't even have my glasses on. I wish I did. I know I got a lot of birthday wishes, y'all. I'm going to try to fly through here. Whew, I can't even get to the top. All right, I won't get all the way to the top. I think the top was a bunch of happy birthdays anyway. Guys, while I'm looking for questions, if you want to share this podcast, you can share it onto your pages by using the share button. Hello, Miss Amy. Love your headband. One of my tribe members gave me this. I think it was Jenny Burkett, P&P tribe member. When can we please order P&P clothes? Bobby, I am getting with Sadie today, and she is going to talk to our people. They just got their stuff up and running, and I've been just giving them some space to breathe. They've got a warehouse where they're now going to print their stuff on demand, so we don't have to wait anymore. Laura Gray says, I like who I am right now in this point in my life, and I also love learning how to grow. Thank you, P&P, for the lessons in myself from the inside out. She's one of our tribe members. Micah, you look great, wish I could do it. I drive so much, never have time to make what's right. Micah, we call that in our group an excuse. We call that a justification. And excuses and justifications are the things, the lies we tell ourselves that make us think we can't do things. You're asking the wrong question rather than saying, well, you're sitting there going, here's why I can't do it. It's because I drive so much. There are people in the world who lose weight and drive a lot. So that means it's a lie. There's no reason why when you drive that you can't drive to get a salad. Every fast food restaurant has salads. Most of the time what we do is we have our excuse and our justification. And so it's like, well, I might as well just eat McDonald's. And then we just order whatever we want, and we're making no sacrifices. You can always start somewhere. There's not a damn gas station in the world hardly anymore that doesn't have healthy options. The real key is are you willing to eat them? Like, are you going to have some hard-boiled eggs, cheese sticks, and nuts? Or are you going to be like, well, here I am, that person who drives all the time. Might as well get me a big old bag of chips and soda. I don't know what you're doing, but, like, you aren't going to have to exercise. Driving has nothing to do with that. Like, you need to, like, watch what goes in your mouth. If you drive a lot, nothing says you have to eat when you're not hungry and stop before you're full. That's what I want you to think about. Same thing with all you who travel all the time. Same damn lesson. Rinse and repeat that one. It's all it takes. PNP Tribe Tanya says, I am learning so much about myself these past 4 months. Oh, you're very welcome. What brand are my sunglasses? These are Maui Gems. I bought these Las Vegas trip. Let's see. Devril, down 135 pounds, and my biggest thing is telling people I'm not on a diet. I've chosen a healthy lifestyle. Good for you, girl. Hey, Stephanie. The thought work is the best. Self-confidence rocks. The support is unbelievable. PNP Tribe. Christy, negative self-talk is such an issue for me. I don't give myself much value. Yeah, and here's the thing. If you want to give yourself value, guys, it's not going to just happen. A lot of you will ask me, like, well, how do I start valuing myself? How do I start, talking better to myself and stuff? You start doing it. Like, there's no magic in it. You have to catch yourself when you're not. The first thing, guys, is always the most painful side of it. It is becoming very aware of how often you're doing it. And then you have to disallow more negative self-talk of, oh my God, it'll never happen for me. I'm so broken. And we totally cast judgment on how we talk to ourselves. Then you spin out and you'll just go right back into your automatic crapwad thinking. Bypass the judgment stage. If you want to get there faster, skip that part. Go immediately to, all right, if I've got time to throw shade, I got time to say something nice. Start balancing the scales. I want you to think about it. You're always telling yourself something negative. And here's the positive. You're going to have to start balancing them. Eventually what happens is your brain will get tired of redirecting, and then you have your choice. Give up or keep going until it starts outweighing to where you're saying nicer and nicer things to yourself. Let me turn this way just a little bit. All right. So negative self-talk is very important to cure, y'all. Just saying. Fat discrimination is a real thing. Amber, here's the thing, and I want all of you to hear this. There's no way thinking that fat discrimination is real is helpful. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. Seriously, it doesn't. You know what matters? Are you going to believe it? Always take ownership. It's just words. It is just words. People, they may not want you around or whatever. That's fine. Why even try to be in that circle anyway? We need to, as a group, all of us here, need to think about, like, hating on others because they think we're fat. The only thing that we're doing is we're creating hate in ourselves. We're not working on love for ourselves. So anytime you are more worried or angry or resentful or whatever at how someone else is thinking about your weight or behaving about your weight, is time you are spending on them and not time you're spending on yourself. If you're going to lose 100 pounds, you have to figure out how to get out of other people's heads and other people's business and get into your own. It's a good distraction. Thinking about what other people think about you when you're overweight, guess what it does? It is a gateway to eating. It is our sneaky little way to keep throwing fuel on our fat fire. Guys, we have to be on to ourselves. This is not their fault. No one makes us eat. But when we spend time thinking about their actions and their behaviors and their judgments and that kind of stuff, guess what we're not doing? We're not thinking about ourselves and how we can better ourselves and what we can be doing and what we're willing to no longer do just because someone's a douchebag. Just walked my first 5K because of your podcast. Oh, congratulations, Lindsay. Starting my journey and using the free course and podcast for resources. That's awesome. Guys, if you want the free course, go to pnp411.com. Happy birthday. This is from Lisa, one of my tribe members. Aren't happy tears better than grieving for the lost you? Your birthday gift to me today is my ability to enjoy New York City and not see it out of the hotel window. I am happily blaming you for needing to find the fitness room upon checking into a hotel. That's awesome. PNP groupie, Shawnee. I love this whole experience. Emo is totally cool. Groupies are, guys, if you're wondering what that is, it's people who listen to my podcast. They get invited to be in a closed Facebook group that's free where just the podcast listeners, they all listen to the podcast together and they talk about it. And you only can get invited if you go to pnp411.com. You have to go through my free course first. I'm a big believer that that podcast group is going to stay, I don't go in there, but I have a couple of mentors that work that group. And what they do is they make sure that people are losing weight or listening to the podcast and discussing the podcast, stuff. You're not going to get sold keto or isogenics or prove it or all that kind of stuff in there. That stuff, if people want to do that stuff, that's great. Just don't do it in my groups. Kathy, PNP Tribe, I have to pull my brain out of the dark places a lot when it comes to deciding what others are thinking. Most of us do. If you live your life, guys, here's the thing, and I don't want you guys to think that this is easy. When you live your life worried more about what other people think than you, when you start learning how to prioritize your own thoughts first and letting people have theirs, then what happens is it takes work. It will not be easy, but it's worth it. And that's what I always tell myself on that stuff. When I was losing 100 pounds, I think I told myself 1,000 times, this is not easy, but it will be worth it. I had to really stay out of the deuter about it's so hard, I'll never get this. That is just that is the baby step to giving up. Watch when your brain says that stuff, y'all. Let's see. First time watching and listening. I so needed this right now. My head is always 100% sabotaging me. Jennifer, take the free course. It's good. Hey, Kim Milliken. Thank you for the happy birthday, heifer. You're hilarious. Ann King, you have helped so many be proud of who you are. I'm so glad I found your podcast. I've been wondering what was keeping me from progressing, and thanks to you, I know, and I am on my way to a healthier me. Hey, Hellcat. Let's see. Well, I thought there might be some questions. Of course, y'all are probably terrified to ask me a question about what I eat. Hang on, let me get into the shade for a second. Amy Johns. Oh my gosh, I have a cousin named Amy Johns. That is so funny. Recently went into the gym with a friend with the wrong clothes and not knowing how to use machines. Only lasted a few minutes. It was hard and embarrassing, but did what I could. 20 pounds down, way more to go. I don't know how you do it. Kudos. Don't know if people still say that or not. To you. Did the back to basics and it still helps me. Not perfect, but still going. Thank you for all you do. You just keep going. That's how you do it. There's no magic. It literally is there's two choices, quit or keep going. Every single time, guys. Let me just go inside. There's only two choices. You either can quit or you can keep going. And I just think that, like, if you talk to yourself in your reasonable moments, not in your, like when you're in the throes of pain and whatever, it's going to make sense to want to quit because your brain is going to tell you every reason why to. But if you will just tell yourself, like, what is the likelihood of me never starting another diet? Like, I want y'all to think about this. What is the likelihood of you never starting another diet? You will tell yourself, oh, I can't, fail another time. I can't do these things. But realistically, if you are overweight and you want to lose weight, you will keep starting new ones. Why not just keep going on this one? Why keep restarting? Restarting is the hardest part. You have to, get so much motivation, and you have to, find a plan and stuff. It's like, why not just get right back up and just keep going? That's what I don't think a lot of us need to really realize, is that whole concept of just keep going no matter what. Don't make your mistakes mean that you're never going to lose weight. I should have got my glasses while I was up. Let's see. We live in such a judgmental world with social media and all we have at our fingertips. I have been at my lowest once and my highest multiple times. I spend many of my workouts talking to myself through the judgments that may or may not exist. You are so right in just telling myself that it's up to me, not them. Change your thoughts and do small things. Love, PNP Groupie. And I think that's the biggest thing about judgments, guys. Very often, your judgments are like what you think they're thinking. I rarely ever have someone, at PNP Tribe, I want you to think about this. How often do we have somebody come in and say, they actually said this? It's usually, well, I know they think this. They're acting this way, so I know they must be thinking this. Like, you don't know jack shit. You know what you know? What you think about you. And if that's what you're coming up with, that's because you deep down believe it. If you think people well, they're not very supportive. They just don't think I'm going to be able to lose weight and blah, blah, blah. And you're getting upset about it is because deep down you have insecurity, fear, and doubt. And my challenge to all of you guys is not to just feel amazing and better about it. It's like, feel fear, insecurity, and doubt. It means you're onto something. You're not taking the easy way. You're doing it in a way that's teaching you how to keep going anyway. Fear, doubt, and insecurity, guys, if you're going to lose weight, you're signing up for that. I know this is real sexy, right? I was really looking for the talk on how to lose 100 pounds. It would be easy. It's like, well, that ain't this one. Because I'm going to tell you, it was scary as hell most of the time. Until I taught myself that it was okay to be scared and keep going. And I was collecting those small wins. And then guess what? I started feeling some momentum and motivation. Motivation and momentum did not come first. They were well earned. And all of you will have to earn yours too. Let's see. Good morning, y'all. Everybody says, I'm so tired of feeling this way. It's time to change, y'all. Take the free course, pnp411.com. Here's Amber. Does anybody else catch a glimpse of themselves in the mirror and then think that is not how you think you look without the mirror? A lot of people do. A lot of us, your brain is one of the most powerful things ever. It can create a very, a lot of times people will say, I really thought I looked good until I looked in the mirror. That is because a lot of times you have really positive thoughts about yourself. And then you see the mirror and you're like, oh, wow. And it's not that you look bad now. It's just that you allowed some other thought to come in. Some people, what they do is they lose weight and they look in the mirror and they see the bigger version of themselves. And that isn't because the bigger of the version of themselves is staring them in the face. It's because their brain has practiced for so long that they're overweight or that they look a certain way. Guys, your brain is just really, really smart and really good. The real trick is to see the image and notice what you're thinking and decide, is that what you want to think? Is this what I want to be thinking about my body? If it makes you feel terrible, then what you want to do is you want to decide, I don't talk to myself that way anymore. I don't think those things about myself anymore. And find something you like. We have a course in my membership in PNP Tribe. It's called Self-Love. And we did 4 weeks on all aspects of self-love. So it was like there was a week of how to take a selfie, which that week was not just like, ooh, selfie. It was more about how to look at pictures of yourself and redefine what you're thinking. We had a week on self-talk. We had a week on self-confidence, I think. I can't remember. It was like self-confidence, self-talk, self-love, and like the self-image stuff. And throughout that whole program, what I reemphasized was the inner dialogue that was going on in all the different areas. And that is one of the key things is before you can change anything, guys, like before you can implement what to change, you have to really understand when and what is broken. Like where is it broken and how often is it broken and that kind of stuff. But it is completely normal. Ebony, hello. Have you ever had any times during your weight loss journey where you regained a significant amount, 15 to 20 pounds? I lost 80 pounds and have regained some. I know all the mental thought that I need to think. I'm not confused about how it happened. I'm aware of all the things to evaluate, and I also know the alternative if I don't, gaining it all back. But I'm just extremely sad about it despite getting back on it and pushing through. If you've experienced this, how did you deal with these moments? Ebony, it's funny. So I did gain it, like, gosh, there was a period of time when after I'd lost weight for a few years where I was doing these figure competitions. And y'all know my battles with loose skin. And so I had like a buttload of loose skin and stuff. And I was working with a bodybuilding trainer. And I told him, I said, I am willing to do whatever it takes to try to get my legs bigger. Because in my mind was like, if I could just build more muscle, then maybe my legs wouldn't look so bad. Because I carried the majority of my loose skin was all in my legs. I mean, I've had a lot of work done to try to fix some of it. But this was after I'd already had a surgery. No, I had not had a surgery yet on my legs. I'd had surgeries other places, just not on my legs. And I had to gain 35 pounds during what we call the off season. It was the hardest. That was harder for me than I think losing the 100, because I'd worked so hard to lose my weight, and I had to deal with fear that I wasn't going to be able to lose it. I had to deal with so much stuff that would go on throughout the process. Even though I knew that I was going to compete and take the weight back off, it was like, but what if I can't? What if this is the time I can't do it? What if I just keep eating? What if I just, whatever? So I didn't do it like in a way where I was just out of control, but it didn't matter. It was just gaining weight. I got back up to 100. I think I was like 175 or something. I was at that magic number that I thought, oh my God, I can't get below. And I remember thinking, like, it's normal to be scared. Like, yeah, it's just normal to be scared. My past says, and this is what I want you to think about, Ebony. My past says I can't do it. The way to get through it is to be willing to be scared, but keep going in the direction you know that works, because your past is really irrelevant. That's just what happened. It's like, my past says this, but what does my future say? So often, guys, you guys are not asking what your future says. Your future is not dictated by your past. Your future is dictated by your decision right now. You just need to decide right now without your past being the authority figure in your life. Every moment is just a choice. So like in those moments, Ebony, I think the best thing that I would tell you is like how to deal with that moment is to just say, it's normal to be scared. It's also normal to just keep going. Lots of people get scared and keep going. It's just like if you were going to do, say you're going to be in a spelling bee and you're terrified of getting on stage. Lots of little kids are scared to get on stage and compete anyway. the worst that's happening right now is what's going on in your brain. That's it. Let's see. Let's see. Cheryl or Carol, you're having the sleeve in 13 days. Good luck. I know that it's not going to be the final answer. You're still going to have to work on your brain. We have a big group of girls that are in my tribe that have all had weight loss surgery, and they have their own special group where they talk because they have a lot of mental work to do. And some of them have regained weight and all that kind of stuff. And some of them haven't regained weight. Some of them are just like, they still feel like the fat version of them. They still talk the same and everything while having this thing done to their body. So just do your thought work too. Don't just have surgery thinking it's going to be the only answer. Meredith, the best quote ever was told to me in the tribe the other day, and it can be applied to the thought, what if someone doesn't like me? Tell them to eat shit and bark at the moon. Let's see. Judy. Hey, Miss Judy. I'm so willing to keep failing, but I am not willing to fail all the way back to the beginning. I am figuring this out. Exactly. What is NMW? Rhonda, that means no matter what. We always use that hashtag inside my tribe because we're always talking about we're going to keep going no matter what. What does my tattoo say? This one says PNP Tribe. This is my PNP Tribe tattoo. This is my tribe members. And it says Queen C. That's my alter ego. They call me the Queen. And then this one says Strength. I got that one after I lost my weight because I love to lift weights. And I had to have all kinds of strength in order to keep it off and lose it. And I have a son who has unique needs. And it took strength to not gain weight through that. It took strength to not gain weight when my grandmother who raised me, when she passed away, she died of pancreatic cancer. And it was we all took care of her for months on end. And, there were just times in my life, like after I'd lost my weight, where, I could have easily used it as an excuse to gain weight back. And I relied on my inner strength. I mean, it was just like I wanted to eat. I will not lie. The very first, Logan was diagnosed on April 5th, and I guess I'd had my weight off for about 2 years, and my husband and I went to a conference the next morning. We had no idea. Well, I knew he was going to get diagnosed. Chris had no idea. And he found a conference in New Jersey. We live in Nashville the next day starting. And so he literally booked us tickets and called his parents and just like laid it out. This is what's going on. We have to go to this conference because my husband's super smart. He was like, I have to figure this out. So we hopped on a plane early in the morning and we flew to New Jersey so that we could be at this thing. And the first night, the first day they had told us that 85% of couples that have a child with autism will end in divorce. And like the whole day was all about, like, this was not like it is now. It was all about the scariest things ever that, that the autism brings. And you were on a timeline. I mean, it was just all day long. That night, I was just like, F this. We went and we got pizza and we sat in bed and we cried and ate pizza until I just ate until I was sick. And I just looked at him and said, I can't do this. Like, there's no way that I am going to be able to get through this with Logan and go back to the way I was. And I just made a really hardcore decision right then that I was going to throw all of my energy and effort into him and not into soothing my emotions with food. because then I wouldn't be there for him. I would be only being there for me. And, I just figured it out. I just was like, this is what I'm going to do. And it was one of the first times ever since I had lost weight that I didn't use a traumatic event in life to as an excuse to go back to who I was. And I wanted to. I can't tell you how many times Chris and I would, go out to eat or whatever through that process. And all I wanted to do was eat and just feel the rush of, a full belly and whatever like pancakes and all that kind of stuff. It just was, I almost think that going through that first year after he was diagnosed, first 2 years really, were the hardest years of being in maintenance. And it was, and I'd been in maintenance for a while, but it was just so hard because it was like every old habit of mine came roaring back. They just wanted their foot in the door. And every time that I would overeat during that time, I would go from fear and panic over what was going on with my son and all that to relief with eating, and then fear and panic that I was going to gain all my weight plus have to take care of my son. Like, it was a very hard time. I had to do a lot of thinking during that time. And I just kept pushing myself to be like, you can do this. Like, there was no way that I was not going to take care of Logan. So if I was going to take care of Logan, then why crap all over myself and make it harder on myself? These were the first times that I was really thinking about realistically what was going to happen. Like, overeating sounds so good in the moment. I get it. I still get it to this day. There are days when shit happens and all I want to do is go have wine and nachos. And my whole talk that starts up is, but you're in maintenance, you can afford it. It's always going to happen. You're always going to, if you have a history of being overweight, you will always have moments where you're going to try to negotiate the easy way out, the feel-good way. The problem is it just doesn't feel good in the long run. And I just got tired of trying to find a hit all the time. I wanted to have sustainable, I wanted to feel good for the long run for the first time in my life. And I had to teach myself how to do that. And that was not going to be taking the easy way all the time. So, let's see. Jessica, have you decided when you are opening in September? It's going to be the middle of September, Jessica. It is, I'm actually now going to a conference on the 2 of the days that we were going to be open. I'm now going to be at a conference, which we're at the end. Still going to be the same week. We're just backing it up just a little bit. I'll be announcing all that soon, but it's the middle week of September. Somewhere around the 10th through, I think, the 13th or something like that. We'll be open for either 2 to 4 days. I'm not 100% sure. I have to lay all that stuff out. So, but anyway, it'll be right around there, Jessica. And then we'll let you guys know on prices and all that kind of stuff. The $289 to join is not changing, so that will be the same. We're just trying to decide, is it going to be $49 or $59 this time? We have a lot of people interested in joining the tribe, so we have to figure out, what we're going to do about that and stuff. The wait list is huge this time. It grew really fast, so I got to figure all that out. The neat thing, though, is I now have a butt ton of mentors in our group. Lori, if you want to know how I lost it, go listen to my podcast, PNP, or go to Losing 100 Pounds of Fit and Fat. I did not do no carb. I did not do low sugars and stuff like that. I did everything that was all about healthy, sustainable, and thought work. It was all about the brain. So if you listen to this over in the beginning, you'll get a lot of tips on that. Angie, I have to stop believing what I say. I am my own worst enemy. Thank you for sharing your heart. It is very inspiring too. Yeah, here's the thing. Just tell yourself, I say a lot of words, and unless they feel good, I choose not to believe them. Just decide, oh, that's just a bunch of those crappy things I think. I don't have to believe those. How do you get from intellectually knowing what to do let's see. How do you get from intellectually knowing what to do to action? You just do it. Seriously. You have to just do it. Guys, here's the thing. There's a lot of hacks to get to the just doing it phase. The most important one is asking yourself first and foremost, Jennifer, what are you asking yourself to do? If you can't pull the trigger, you're asking too much. You're not ready. But that's going to take you getting a gut check on, like, well, am I going to just keep setting extremely high perfectionistic expectations of myself and not doing it? Or am I going to meet myself where I'm at and slowly get there? Because a lot of you will fight that. You'll be like, but I don't want it to take a long time. You'll have all your reasons and all your whines and all your moans and groans about it. And what you're doing is whining, moaning, and groaning and stuff while I'm not doing anything. It'll even feel productive because you're thinking about it all the time. It's like, just pick something and do it. Like when I tell people to just drink some water, you will not believe how many people fight me on starting with one of the foundational basics of weight loss, which is you have to drink your water, all because they think it's not enough. It's like, you know what's not enough? Not drinking your water. Let's just clear it up real quick. What's not good enough is you not starting where you're at and, fiddle farting around in your shitty diaper, wanting it to be perfect. Once you tell yourself that part's not good enough, you have to start where you're at. You have to figure out how to get started. And then sometimes you just have to tell yourself, there are just going to be days where I'm not going to feel like eating what's on whatever you write down for the day. If you listen to my podcast, you know what I'm talking about. If you write down what you're going to eat for the day, sometimes I won't feel like eating that. The reason why I will do that is because when I eat what I feel like eating, I just gain weight. Like a lot of you are not telling yourselves the truth on the other side. You're very good at telling yourself what you want in the moment, and you don't even give yourself a counterbalance thought. It's like, I at least want you to start arguing with yourself a little bit. Don't just go immediately into the ways that you normally talk yourself into it. That's why, like, my clients, we have this big lesson on justifications and excuses and stuff. You have to be on to those things, and then you have to know what to tell yourself if you have them. Well, we all have them. But that's the key. Emily, thank you so much for everything you do. I used to be a professional Weight Watcher who was making no progress because they never taught me the importance of the mental game. I have lost 5.8 pounds in 2 weeks just doing your free stuff. Good for you. And I can't wait to join your tribe in September. I listen to your podcast on repeat every day in my car and at work. Thank you for helping me learn how to not give up on myself. You're very welcome, PNP groupie. My daddy's watching. I just saw him. Amy, almost to my original goal. How should I set the new one that isn't weight related? Oh, that's such a good question. I like to set goals that are like, what I always think is like, all right, now that I have conquered my weight goal, what else what have I not been doing because of my weight? That's always an amazing question. And then start there. And then when you set a new goal, your goal may even be like, for 3 months, I'm going to maintain this 5-pound window. And for the next 3 months, I'm going to write all the things that worked every single day. Like maybe your goal is to really train your brain on your maintenance phase or something. You could do some stuff like that. But that's what I would think about is like, what have I not been doing in my life because of my weight? And then pick one, and it'll feel scary and it'll feel weird. But then you tell yourself, but here's everything I learned losing weight, and I can just apply that right over there. I'm 30 days in and vowed not to step on the scale for the first month. The month was not perfect, but I did enlist some small livable changes. I'm fearful to step on the scale. Why? Your only reason why you're fearful is because you're afraid it didn't work. Okay, that's usually what's going on. What I would do is I would think about, all right, I'm going to get on the scale, and I made amazing small livable changes this month. And if I didn't lose any weight, I just need to make I just need to make a few more small livable changes until it is working. That's all that data is going to tell you. It's either working or it's not. And if it's not working, it's not because small, livable, healthier changes aren't working. It's just those are getting you from gaining weight to maintaining weight. So now what can I do in order to move the needle a little more further to the right? Just get on there and think about that. This is data. That data is not going to tell you that you're a failure. It's just going to say, like, these actions are either working or they're not. And if they're not working in this format, then I just need to change a few of them. That's it. You take the weight off your shoulders. Can you talk about eating until satisfied? Kathy, we actually have a podcast on it, but I think you're one of my girls, Kathy. Aren't you one of my girls? Ask that inside the tribe. I'll get, if you want like just a quick live or something, either me, Kathy, or Betsy can go live directly on that. Will you let me know? I'm almost sure your name looks so familiar. I almost think you're one of my tribe members. But basically, it's just where you're just going to eat and you're not eating till you're full. You're not cleaning your plate, doing all that kind of stuff, guys. Eating till satisfied really means you're eating mindfully and you're allowing yourself to stop, for most of us, before we want to. There's a difference between starting or stopping eating when you want to and when your body has had enough. And that's really one of the keys of eating till satisfied. I have a total hip replacement. What would you suggest to start with at home exercises? Amy, if you will go to, seriously, y'all, this is the biggest free hack for exercise it ever was. Go to YouTube, and whatever it is that you want to find, they have got free videos on it. So if you were to write search home exercises for total hip replacement, you will get thousands of hits. Thousands. And a lot of them will be free videos that people have put together, especially rehab people, for people to exercise at home. And that's where I would start. Let's see. No, I do not count calories, Krista. And I do not teach people to do that because then they don't know how to eat for life. Hello, Miss Sierra. I'm struggling, but I know I'm not going to completely give up. I don't know exactly how I'm getting to where I'm going, but I will get there. It's the hardest thing I've ever done because losing weight is easy, but it's hard to work on yourself. Oh my God, as I'm typing this, my wife just sent me your podcast about self-sabotage, and now I'm crying because she doesn't even know how I'm feeling right now. The universe must be trying to send me a message. Sierra, I think, didn't you sign up for a coaching call? For some reason, I thought I saw an email come through saying you were going to get on a coaching call. I wish you would. I think you need to check in with me. Like, seriously, Sierra, you need to check in with me like once every 6 weeks or something, and let's get your brain going in the direction you want. I think that would be super helpful. She's one of my tribe members, guys, if everybody's wondering what I'm talking about. But I would go ahead and like look at the schedule. I've got them scheduled all the time now. Like there's, all kinds of stuff. Even if you can't get on with me, get on with Kathy or Betsy. They're going to be doing a few next month. We're doing something brand new in the tribe next month called Office Hours, where Kathy and Betsy are going to have like a day where they're just going to be online and people can just come in. It's first come, first serve, getting your coaching. And they're just going to be online for a few hours on, I think it's going to be on Saturdays, if I'm not mistaken, Saturday afternoons. Just get on some calls, y'all. Like all of my tribe members, seriously, when you can talk to me, I know that the hardest thing is like, oh my God, Corinne's going to get up my butt. It's like, no, Corinne's not going to get up your butt. That's a thought. Sometimes I do, but it's for the ones who can handle it. That's what they need. Like they want that. And then I've got a lot of you girls who don't need a big ass ripping. You just need me to show you how you're thinking. So get on the calls, girls. That's why we offer them. I want you to be able to talk to me out loud. We can make so much more traction doing that. It always baffles me when I go on a call and there's openings. I am like, seriously? Like, I know this is because somebody has decided that it's going to be too hard. It's like, I want you to challenge yourself and say like, no more thinking it's too hard. What's hard is me sitting back and doing nothing. That's hard. Hi, Daddy. I love you too. Since I'm on vacation with some extra time, I've made a list of all the restaurants we eat at, and for each a list of acceptable foods that help me get to my goal and leveled up if no foods are available, whole foods are available. That's an awesome way to do it. I am fortunate to have good support. I've lost 43 pounds and I'm still focused, but I'm finding that I was so excited at first and now started to have the negative self-talk back. How do I get the positive thoughts flowing again? Jackie, you just have to just ask yourself, what was I thinking in the beginning and why am I choosing not to think that now? It's usually because when we are getting a lot of success, we start going back to our old ways because we know that we're going to have to keep going. It's just where a lot of times too, you know, as you're losing weight, you've removed a lot of your ways of coping with other things. And rather than coping with the new feelings you're having, you just go back to the old ones. So I would just remind yourself of what you were telling yourself then and then start reinserting it. There's nothing that's going wrong because you're starting to think the old thoughts. I think them all the time. It's been 13 years since I lost my weight. It's not that big a deal. When we make it a big deal, we make it like something's going wrong, then we're inviting ourselves to start eating again, and we're inviting ourselves to start backsliding. And here's the other thing. When you're losing weight, you aren't entitled to feel exciting, motivating, and full of like zest the entire time. At some point, it just becomes routine, and that can feel boring. If you're feeling bored because now it's becoming routine, just be on to yourself and just be like, I don't need to feel entertained anymore. I don't need it to feel exciting for it to work. I just need to keep going. That's it. And if you want spontaneity and you want some excitement and stuff, don't look for it in your food. Look for where you're not including it in the rest of your life. Put it in there. How do I get to be, Kelly, we have a podcast coming out in 2 weeks on this. How do I get to be first or higher on the list of things to do? I usually am way down on the list. That podcast is either releasing this Friday or next Friday. So be staying tuned for that one. All right, let's see. If you're losing friends when you lose weight, are they friends? I let go of those people in my own life. It's part of putting me first. Let's see. For the person who drives a lot, when I had a driving job, I stopped at the local grocery store and picked up fresh produce and healthy choices from the deli. Tracy, PNP tribe member. I can't believe the sisterhood that I have found within the tribe. We share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's real life. Tribe for life. Everybody's like, I love how matter of fact you are. Yeah, nobody will ever accuse me of being, not being like blunt and to the point. Do you have any mantras you say to yourself? It's always, I'm going to figure this out. That's my number one mantra. Everything in life that I'm always faced with, it's always, I'm going to figure this out. I just have a core belief that will happen. I figured out how to grow up broke. I figured out how to start my own business. I figured out how to not let not having a college degree define me. I figured out how to raise a kid with autism and to turn out to be a spectacular kid. I figured out how to find a man that really loved me after going through some douchey ones. I mean, I have just, like, when you look for evidence in your life of your ability to figure things out, you'll find it. Most of us are looking for evidence that we can't do things. That is my power mantra for ages to come. I've always been able to figure out things. And when I gave myself the space to think about that was true, it gave me the motivation and the fuel to keep trying to do it in other areas of my life. Like, I was so depressed for so long. I mean, guys, I attempted suicide at 17. I figured out how to get past that too. I mean, it's, you either figure things out or you don't. There's only two choices. I have a mentor that tells me all the time that life is, everything comes down to two things. You're either doing it or you're not. It's a yes or it's a no. All this other stuff is just smoke and mirrors. And when you look at things, it's like, all right, am I going to think this way or not? Am I going to eat this or not? Is this person's opinion going to matter or not? It's always a yes or no. That has helped me in so many things. So I'm either figuring it out or I'm not. Period. I hear my haughty husband in there. I think he's making his coffee. I hear the spoons. He said that's true. He says that's true on all counts. He's a hottie who's making coffee with a spoon. What's my favorite breakfast? This coffee I'm drinking. If you'll go to fitandfat.com/coffee. It's PHIT-N-PHAT.com/coffee. You will get my coffee recipe. This is what I have for breakfast every day. And then around 11 o'clock I eat. And right now I'm eating a chicken, what is it? Chicken verde quiche? Some kind of quiche with eggs and chicken and like chicken salsa verde quiche. And it's delicious with like green beans and stuff. And that's what I'm eating at 11 o'clock. All right, let's see. Y'all, there is so many more questions and stuff. Thanks for the wonderful program. When is the tribe opening? It'll be middle September. Whoops. Well, crap. I sat here and turned something on. Well, let me just wrap it up, guys. So I want you guys to take away that if there was only one thing that I was going to tell you about how to lose weight, it's going to be to figure out what you're thinking about and change it. That is the number one blocker to women losing weight. It is not the food plans. It is not keto. It is not none of that stuff. It is ask yourself, why am I not losing weight right now? And you will come up with a lot of reasons. Get beneath, well, I don't know what to eat and stuff like that. Get to the reasons that really matter. Well, I don't think I can. And then just start questioning yourself and just be like, why would I ever think that I can't? Am I willing to do the small things? Am I willing to start where I am? When you really start digging around in there, guys, you will find way more answers than you ever will Googling 1,200 calorie meal plan, best food app, and shit like that. None of that helped me lose 100 pounds. The day I got just real with myself was the day that things started changing. All right, pnp411.com is the free course. Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat is the podcast. And I would really appreciate it if you guys would share the lives and if you would subscribe to the podcast so that you'll get this live on Saturday if you subscribe to the podcast. I always take this live and rebroadcast on Saturday for podcast listeners. So if you miss this one and you don't get to attend live, you never have to miss one. That's one of the best reasons to subscribe. Y'all have a good week. I'm going to celebrate my birthday tomorrow by working. Actually, my husband is going to take me, I think, out to dinner this weekend. We don't have a sitter, and I have one of those amazing Zoom calls tomorrow night. And Miss Sierra, if you're still on here, I don't think there's any openings, but if you want to come on, that's one of those Zoom calls that may have an opening. People cancel at the last minute all the time. They get all the willies about talking to me, so always check, guys. Right before. I would look at the schedule an hour beforehand to see if someone has gotten the willies and canceled, and you could sign up real quick. So y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.